Let's start this way. I always said that the channel will be led in the long run by what feedback you give and what the numbers of views, etc., that we get back from our content shows what you are interested in seeing from the channel. We have tried to run an episode of hobby therapy, and we've tried to involve the community in a showcase on the channel. But this seemed to fall a bit by the wayside. Well, most support and feedback we have received is for our Dogs of War episodes. Now, this originally was only going to be a couple of videos to allow me to show the build of a 500-point little army for an event to be held at the TSA Arena in Nottingham. But it seems that after asking what you want to see more of you would want to see us take that Dogs of War idea a little bit further on. So now we're going to go on the road to be a more of a full 2,400 point army, taking into account various certain comp rules that are floating around the old world community, and see if we could take the army to bigger events in the future. I think we hit a bit of the perfect storm, because not soon after the delivery of the first two videos, we were lucky enough to get the Renegade Crowns list. That has given us and a lot of other people around the community the chance and tools to be able to put together their own dogs on the table. So therefore, these videos will be, for a while, the story of our army build. I think I have enough ideas to be split into a further 4 or 5 videos in this series. So this will be a mixture of historical units that are from the original source book, but also maybe update towards the end and maybe add in our own potential units. And maybe you guys in the community could maybe come up with unit ideas and we could have a go at building those as well. So who's next on the list? Well, this video is because I have in my collection one of the original models from this unit. I have mostly used that model as an RPG character. So ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's time for Lumpin Croop's Fighting Cocks. These guys have always been a mainstay whenever you look at the Dogs of War armies. And I had it in mind to add these guys to the original 500 point list that I was working on, just to give myself an alternative missile troop. I mean, I could have gone with more crossbows, fattened out the unit that I've already got, maybe add the besiegers in. But I want to go and add them in now to offer and embrace that there is enough of a difference between bows and crossbows working slightly in a different manner, that these guys can be used in a slightly different way on the table. Plus, adding to the fact that these guys are scouts, also, and to take this pun, adds an extra string to their bow. There are in today's hobby a number of ways we could go to represent these awesome guys on the table. With originals still available, although slightly a bit pricey. You've also got a number of 3D printable models available for download to print yourself or from third-party printers themselves. But at the end of the day, this is a kit bashing channel. So because it's a kit bashing channel, we were going to go for the third option and see what we could make up from kits that we've got. So where are we going to start? Well, for GW base, we only really have one option that gives us a variety of poses to be able to work with, so the whole effect does not appear too stagnant on the table and everyone's in the same or similar walking positions. Many of you will know that I have an idea that some of the best base figures to use in kit bashes, especially for the old world, are the Blood Bowl kits. So what we're going to do, we're going to dive into those and bring out the Greenfield Grasshuggers. Now, our first change is going to be to the gait of the figure to change the dynamic about how they are moving. It's really an easy enough change to make, because what we're going to do is clip away the base strip as normal that will sit inside the base, and basically let the model fall forward naturally till both feet are in contact with the base, and attach them there with a bit of glue. So this changes the more upperly dynamic pose that are on the Blood Bowl figures to something that looks a bit more like moving briskly, or indeed running through the fields, etc., etc. Next is the weaponry, and various other bits of handheld gear that we're going to be putting on these models themselves. Now, we can make use of, no, we couldn't make use of any of the Empire kits, because obviously the difference in scale between a human and a halfling is going to show up that the bows, etc., are too unwieldy for putting on the halfling miniatures. So we have to have a look along size. Is there something else roughly their size that we can pilfer these bits off? So for that, we're going on the goblin hunt. Within the original Night Goblin sets, we have a choice of a number of weapon loadouts, melee and missile troops in the same box. So if we do go and, like we've done now, nick the bows, quivers, general arrow bits and pieces from the Goblin kit, then we've still got the availability to build them in their melee options, so we don't lose the usability of the model kit completely just by nicking this one part. So we distribute the gear amongst the various models, and we can end up with looking at a group of models that we can see there's a similarity in the vibe with the weapons and the gear that they're all holding, but no real miniatures is the same. Each one has got their own little bit of individual character, which I think as well goes a long way to when you're trying to, you know, sell a unit like this, that you've got to have that underlying basis that you work off, but nothing to stop you from adding on to that by just changing up the difference in the weapon or the piece of gear that they're carrying around with them. It's at this point, though, that I do have a little bit of a problem with the halfling figures we're going to be using with their bases. I don't know what it is, but I think GW, when they were redesigning the halflings, made them more for comedic value than anything else. So, and as such, the heads that come with the kit just seem a bit too bulky and clunky, and too much coming from a weird and wonderful, you know, oh, look at us, aren't we, thingy, you know, set, and it doesn't really sell itself to me. Bit more there for a bit more comedy value than anything else. But lucky enough, one of the main parts I have in my bits boxes is plenty of heads. And for this set, we're going to use a mixture of GW, some from Anvil Industries, and some from Wargames Atlantic. So we can mix and match on the models themselves and basically get a nice look of different types of heads and different types of feel again to each one of the models. So again, although using the same base set, we've added individual character with the different weapons and gear, and now we've added another level of individual character with the use of the head that we've decided to use. And hopefully that when we show them in a second, that you'd buy into that these heads don't look completely out of scale with the models at all. So pretty much our build is complete then. And for us to get to that point where we can adequately see what's going on, we put down our Xenophile with a couple of the Colour Forge spray cans, get them ready for the application of the Army Painter speed paints that we're going to have a go of. So with the speed paints, I mean, originally the Fighting Cocks were a scouting unit. So we're very much depicted in greens and browns, so to be able to hide out in forests, etc., etc. But I wanted my guys to feel more of, they're not a direct fighting unit. They could be a bit more of a militia, so to speak. So I decided to go a little bit off program, and I decided to go whole hog and basically just pulled whatever colour I wanted out of the rack and decided to put that here and everywhere over the models. So we have some that have got a similar colour shirt on, some that's similar colour trousers, etc., etc. But nobody has exactly the same uniform look across the build itself. And I'm pretty chuffed with how they've turned out. And the idea of having Nat's unit within my Dogs of War now is, one that I'm happy that I've decided to have a go at. To be honest, it hasn't stopped there. One of the things that I've always thought to myself that I would, like as a hobby project is to do a halfling army. So with the games now being able to offer the battle march for the old world, so we can put together a 500 point army, I've been working towards putting those guys together. As I've finished this one unit of 10, there's some other bits and pieces that I've got going on in the background. So hopefully in the not too distant future, we might come back and have a look about how the actual army has gone together, and maybe again take that to an event and see how we get on with the guys, and see if we can, advance on that runner-up award that we had last time for the hobby and the modelling of the army. And hopefully to have halfling army on the table is going to push us over that edge a little bit. So next time we're going to have a look at another unit, and it's going to be again another historic unit from the actual Dogs of War book, but we're going to go with a bit of a cavalry feel next time. So you'd have to make sure that you click all the like buttons, click all the subscribe buttons to make sure you don't miss out on that next episode when it lands, which will be the first one of 2026. So it only goes without me to say, I hope all your hobby is successful between now and the next time we get together around one of these videos. And as I said in the last video, always take time to share your stuff with the community. Inspiration is key within our community itself, and you could be that inspiration for someone else. Thanks for listening, guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the near to distant future.